The long line outside the studio stretched endlessly, full of dreamers from every corner of the world. Some carried guitars, some whispered prayers, others simply stood there, staring at the massive doors that led to the stage where lives could change in just a few minutes. In the middle of that line stood a little boy in a spotless white suit with golden trim shining faintly under the studio lights. His black hair was neatly combed, his brown eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and fear. Around his neck hung a silver microphone pendant, small but gleaming. His good luck charm, and the last gift from his father before he passed away. The boy's name was Liam, 10 years old, from a small coastal town in the Philippines, and today, he was about to step onto the biggest stage of his life, America's Got Talent. His mother stood beside him, holding his hand tightly. She could feel how cold his fingers were, how hard he tried not to show he was scared. "You okay, Anak?" she asked softly, using the Tagalog word for my child. He nodded, forcing a smile. "I'm okay, Mama." She brushed a small lock of hair from his forehead, whispering, "Just sing with your heart, Liam. That's all you need to do." He nodded again, taking a deep breath, trying to ignore the pounding in his chest. When the stage assistant finally called his number, Liam's legs almost gave out. The heavy doors opened, and a gust of cold air hit his face as he walked toward the blinding light. The sound of the audience grew louder with every step. He squinted under the spotlight, seeing 4 judges sitting before him: Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, and Howie Mandel. The crowd murmured softly, surprised at how young and tiny the contestant was. Liam swallowed hard. For a second, he wanted to turn back. But then he heard his father's voice echo in his mind, the way he used to say it when they sang together. "Make them feel what I felt when you sang for me." Simon leaned forward slightly. "Hello there. What's your name?" he asked, smiling politely but clearly curious. "My name is Lam," the boy said, his accent gentle, his voice trembling. "And where are you from, Lim?" Simon continued. "I'm from the Philippines," he answered proudly, and the crowd cheered. "Oh wow, the Philippines," Sophia said warmly. "And how old are you?" "I'm 10, he replied. Simon smiled again, that half-amused expression he often gave when something unexpected was about to happen. 10 years old, he repeated. "And what are you going to do for us tonight?" Liam's small hands tightened around the microphone. "I'm going to sing opera." The entire room went silent for a second, and then came the collective gasp and scattered laughter from the crowd. Opera, from a 10-year-old? Even Howie raised his eyebrows. Simon tilted his head, clearly intrigued but skeptical. "Opera," he repeated, almost chuckling. "That's quite a big choice." Liam nodded, trying not to show his fear. "Yes, sir." Simon leaned back in his chair. "All right then, good luck." The music began, soft strings building under the stage lights. The familiar opening to Nessun Dorma filled the hall. Liam closed his eyes, took one deep breath, and began to sing. From the first note, everything changed. The tiny nervous boy vanished, replaced by a voice that was pure, rich and heartbreakingly beautiful. The sound rose like sunlight through clouds, powerful yet gentle, innocent yet filled with centuries of emotion. The judges froze. Simon's eyes widened. Sophia covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh my God." Heidi blinked rapidly, fighting back tears. The audience leaned forward in disbelief. No one expected that voice to come from someone so small. Liam sang each line with such grace and control it was as if he had been born for this moment. His voice echoed across the theater, climbing higher, wrapping around the walls like a wave of gold. The camera zoomed in on Simon's face, his usual poker expression gone, replaced by something softer, almost vulnerable. For the first time in a long time, Simon Cowell didn't have anything to say. Liam's mother stood backstage, both hands over her heart, tears falling down her cheeks as she watched her son shine under the golden lights. Every note reminded her of late nights back home, when the power would go out, and Liam would sing by candlelight just to make her smile. He had always been different, always carried a voice that felt older than his years. When Liam reached the final high note, his voice soared effortlessly. The sound filled the entire auditorium, touching something deep inside everyone listening. The audience couldn't hold it anymore. They stood up mid-song, cheering through their tears. The orchestra faded as Liam held that last note, trembling, his face glowing under the spotlight. Then silence, a long, breathless silence, and then an explosion of applause. People were crying, cheering, shouting his name. Simon stood slowly, eyes glassy. He pressed his hand to his mouth for a second before whispering into the microphone. "That was unbelievable." Sophia wiped her tears and nodded. "You sing like an angel," she said, voice shaking. Heidi smiled through her tears. "You made everyone here feel something so pure, so real," she said softly. Liam looked out into the crowd, overwhelmed. His chest rose and fell rapidly, tears beginning to form. He didn't know what to do. And then, before anyone could say more, Simon reached forward and slammed the golden buzzer. The theater erupted, a blinding shower of golden confetti burst from above, raining down over the stage. The audience screamed, standing on their feet. Liam gasped, covering his face as tears streamed down his cheeks. The confetti sparkled against the stage lights, turning everything into a glowing golden dream. His mother ran from backstage, arms open wide, wrapping him in the tightest hug. Both of them cried together, lost in that moment that every performer dreams of but few ever live. Simon walked up to the stage smiling, a genuine, emotional smile that few ever saw. He bent down slightly to look Liam in the eyes. "You have one of the most incredible voices I've ever heard," he said softly. "But more than that, you made me feel something I can't even describe. You sang with your soul, and that's what true music is." Liam wiped his tears and whispered, "Thank you, sir." The crowd cheered louder. Heidi clapped her hands above her head. Sophia blew him a kiss. Howie shouted, "You're going to the live shows!" The words echoed in his mind like a dream. Backstage, after the lights dimmed and the noise faded, Liam sat quietly on a bench, holding a handful of golden confetti. His mother sat beside him, still crying softly but smiling wider than ever before. "You did it, Liam," she whispered. He looked down at the confetti, his voice trembling. "I was so scared, Mama. I almost ran away." She put her arm around him. "But you didn't. You were brave. You made them listen to your heart." He smiled faintly, the adrenaline slowly fading. "Do you think Papa heard me?" he asked quietly. She looked at him, tears returning to her eyes. "Yes," she said firmly. "He heard every note, and I think he's the proudest man in heaven right now." Liam leaned against her shoulder, the golden paper still falling gently around them from the rafters. The cameras caught one last shot of him walking down the hallway, still holding a few pieces of glittering gold in his small hands. The sound of his footsteps echoed faintly, and for a brief second, the camera zoomed in on his face. A mixture of disbelief, exhaustion, and pure joy. He stopped and looked back toward the stage one last time, as if silently thanking the universe for giving him this chance. Outside the studio, night had fallen. The city lights shimmered, and the noise of distant traffic mixed with the sound of laughter and applause still echoing from inside. Liam stepped out with his mother, both looking up at the stars. "Mama," he whispered, "I didn't think they would like me." She squeezed his hand. "They didn't just like you and act, they felt you. That's the difference." He nodded slowly, staring at the golden confetti still stuck to his sleeve. The memory of the crowd, the sound of Simon's voice, the feeling of standing under that golden rain. It all replayed in his head like a dream he never wanted to end. As they walked away from the building, the wind picked up, scattering a few golden flakes into the night sky. Liam watched them float upward, glimmering against the moonlight. In that moment, he realized something: dreams don't belong to just those who are old enough or rich enough or lucky enough. They belong to anyone brave enough to believe. He smiled, whispered softly to himself, "I did it, Papa," and then turned to his mother. "Let's go home." She smiled back, her arm around his shoulders, guiding him toward the car. Behind them the stage lights dimmed, but the echo of his voice, that powerful angelic soul-filled voice, lingered in the air long after he was gone. As the screen faded to black, the golden confetti shimmered one last time, and the words appeared: "Dreams know no borders. Believe in your voice."